Here's Malcolm McLaren talking about the Sex Pistols.
Johnny Rotten was a fabulous actor. I think he was a fraud in some respects. I'll say that with all sincerity. But he was a wonderful actor, and he played a great part, and he was a terrific poet at the time, and he was able to be very inspired by a lot of the things that I and my friends and people around him who worked with him gave him at the time. And I don't ever deny everybody's, including Steve Jones and Sidney and all the guys, everybody made a great contribution. Not one of us on our own could have ever have created such a mammoth event and great phenomenon as the Sex Pistols were. With other cases and jobs that I've got involved in, I've been probably a lot more mercenary, and those haven't been quite as inspiring because of that. I've always found that the people never quite rose to the occasion as the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols was a wonderful piece of chemistry that you just couldn't invent. You couldn't manipulate it. What you did do, or what I did do, was make sure that I hid in the toilet when I knew an explosion was going to occur, and allowed it to occur rather than pretending to be the responsible manager and trying to douse the flames. I never did that. I always made the flames rise as high as they could, and then would come out and say, God, what's going on here? And the gentleman concerned, the record company, whatever, said, what did you think? And I would sort of utter the words, well, boys will be boys. And that was, you know, that was my contribution.
After the demise of the Sex Pistols, he found a handsome young singer, Stuart Goddard, who called himself Adam Ant and created a new image, the exact opposite of the Sex Pistols.
At that time, it was a lot more to do with gold and a little bit more theatrical, but something that would be totally opposite to all that black and chrome that was so strong with punk rock. And I happened to notice some pictures of Geronimo, and apparently when the Apaches used to go to war, they would paint this white line across their face like that. And that looked very powerful, and I'd liked the marriage of that with Blackbeard, and I thought, oh gosh, this boy's going to be really a hit. I could see it then. And when he put that on, he was made, really. Only had to say Kings of the Wild Frontier, and I thought he's off. So that my job ended right there.
Adam left McLaren's clutches, but continued to fuse American Indian music. McLaren became more personally involved with music, embarking on his own musical odyssey.
After having journeyed around the world and worked with the Zulus and the hillbillies and the Cubans and all the characters in various ethnic traditions, I found it difficult to write what they wanted, which was something a lot more commercial, which was supposed to be simply this, a series of love songs.
When McLaren traveled to the African town of Soweto, he learned primitive ethnic music firsthand. McLaren considers his greatest achievement the merging of comic opera and rock music for the controversial song and video for Madam Butterfly.
I was supposed to make what was a series of love songs for the record company, and the way to do it and have, from my point of view, a kind of a critique and an excitement was to obviously work from these opera ladies, but I had to compromise to a certain extent, and of course include someone who was singing in English and someone who you normally associated with singing most records in a discotheque. Now, if I go and take that and decide to do something with it, you know, and present it in some way, then, you know, that's exactly the same as Picasso taking an African sculpture and presenting it in another way in the 30s, because he felt that was right at that time. And the fact of the matter was, being an artist and being able to kind of feel the air and the kind of temperature of everything, it worked. And perhaps that's why Madame Butterfly is working.
McLaren admits he never listened to Puccini's opera before making this erotic video, co-produced by English fashion photographer Terence Donovan and featuring a bunch of Vogue models.